Sometimes you just have to beat up more people. You are not the one.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, Aurie, how you doing?
Hi, horrified. No, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing incredibly well, thank you. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. And to everyone watching, whether you're watching live on Facebook, if you're watching it on YouTube, or even catching it on the replay, thank you so much for joining us here this evening. Before we get into it, I want to just let you all know exactly why we're here, what this is all about, and what's this all? What is this all about? So, as you know, we are in this lockdown situation. This global pandemic is wreaking havoc all over the world. And I don't know about you, but for one, feel like I've been bombarded with negativity, with death, doom, destruction. Let's be honest, it's been a pretty terrible time for many people. Many families have been devastated, torn apart through this terrible plague that is affecting our planet right now. However, there are a few of us, or well, I can't even say a few, there's some of us who, thank God, may not have been as directly affected or impacted by this terrible disease, this problem that we have in the world right now. And so in this downtime, I know that many of you have reached out to me about, just feeling lost, feeling confused, wondering what it is you should really be doing with this time. And so I decided that I wanted to make my contribution to the world by trying to bring some joy, by trying to bring some inspiration, and so that some of us can actually use this time productively. This was literally born out of a desire to want to help empower and inspire and motivate people to do something positive with their lives, and to come out of this, if God spares our life, to come out of this stronger, better. That's really what we're here to do. That's what we're all about. And so I have a lineup of incredible guests over the next few weeks who are going to share with you some of their life lessons. Because here's the thing, in life, it is, we don't have time to make all our own mistakes. And even if we do have time, I don't think we should waste our time making all our own mistakes when we have networks of people around us. And I believe that the collective wisdom, the collective knowledge we have as a people, if we were intentional about sharing with one another, we would be able to build up a repository of wisdom, of knowledge that can help people become better. And so the first guest for this show is the fantastic, hilarious, absolutely hilarious Aurie Styla. Aurie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for that intro. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You know, as you know, I was up until some really ungodly hours last night.
Level! You are level! We are watching the clash between Beanie Man and Bounty Killer, and I are telling you that Bounty Killer is the winner. Level!
Listen, this guy has been on this thing all night. I made the mistake.
No.
Oh, dear. He is an absolute nutter. But no, we've been up here. Oh, look, Shay is saying we were all up and she is so tired. And I can certainly relate to that as well.
Shay hard working the thing with the 500K. That was hard watching. When the police did come in, I hard disappear because now I'm dealing with them on there. Level! So,
you're a madman. You're an absolute madman. But listen, I invited you to be part of this, and you graciously agreed to join us this evening because you know what? I don't know how much of a serious conversation I've ever had with Aurie. It's always laughing, or if it has been serious, it's been very, very short, very, very abrupt.
Yeah.
But Aurie, before we, dig into this and, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and what have you. I just want everyone, if you're on the stream now, go ahead and click that share button. If you're on Facebook, we want to make sure that this gets out to as many people. And we're going to be sharing Aurie's definitely going to be sharing some wisdom with us. And Aurie, for those watching who don't know you, never come across you before, give us a bit of an intro. Tell us.
So I'm a stand-up comedian and broadcaster. There's other little things that come with that, the acting and but those are the main things: stand-up comedian and broadcaster. I have my own show on BBC Radio London called The Scene every Monday, 8 till 10 in the evening. I have a podcast as well called No Escaping This Podcast, and that's me as a whole. There's other little bits, but I guess we'll go into that a little later.
Oh, well, we most certainly will. One of the things that I really admire about Aurie is his work ethic. This man he's just always working. He's always working, and he's achieved some he's achieved some incredible things during the short time that I've actually gotten to know him. And I've been, literally just watching in awe, thinking, wow, it's incredible to see a Black man out there doing his thing and representing. I absolutely love to see it.
Wakanda forever, you mean?
Right.
Carry on, sorry.
So, Aurie, I just want to know a little bit more about your journey. This show is all about life lessons, and we're going to get into that. But I wonder if you can just give us a little bit of a background. How did you get to where you are today? Take us through it.
I started comedy 10 years ago this year. So I kind of always wanted to do comedy as a kid. I think from about 13, 14 years old, I filmed my first comedian, funnily enough, at a funeral of an extended family member. I'd seen like Richard Pryor stuff and loads of Chris Rock tapes and stuff, but I enjoyed it, but only really when I saw it live for myself, when it was a comedian, a Jamaican comedian. He was based in Britain. His name's Pingwing, and he was at a funeral. And ever since that happened and I saw him perform, I was staring at him in awe, and I felt like that was when I knew I wanted to do something that was comedy based. Plus, as well, when I was younger, I was always kind of the joker of my family, the one who had not even so much a joker. I had a lot of mouth, so that was how I kind of got into knowing that this is the direction I want to go into. When you're in school as well, to get by at school, you have to kind of be one of two things: attractive or funny. And you don't choose the first one, so that wasn't an option. So I chose to lean into more the funny side to kind of get by, be cool, be popular, or to develop friendships or be the joker of my friendships. And I got to 20. How old am I now? I'm 32, so I was 22. when I restarted university. I was in my second year, I believe. I was doing clothing just for a bit of fun whilst I was doing my marketing degree. And someone invited me down to a event to sell my clothes. It was called Ice Smilewear. And whilst I was doing that, I said, I want to come down to the event. Do you have any open slots? Because I've been to many comedy shows. I wanted to give it a try. And I was like, yeah, jump in. His name's KR. Big shout out to KR. And I did the show. It was called Green Light. It was at the Inn on the Green. It was called then. Now it's called not the Flyover. What's it called now? It's in West London. It's called. It's under the Westway in Ladbroke Grove.
Okay.
When I did the show there, it was really, really good. Someone who was there said, "Do you want to do my show tomorrow?" It's another one. It's in Harrow. I went and tried that one out, and I say really good. It was good for someone who just started. After that, I never looked back. That was 10 years ago. I said, wow. In comedy, lent into it more, and yeah, that's how the journey of it kind of began. How you get to this point now is so many different factors as to how you get to 10 years down the line where I'm at now. I mean, that there's loads of nooks and crannies, ups and downs. We could delve into that more so, but the journey started 10 years ago when I said, yeah, I want to try this open mic, and I never looked back after that.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And I'm really glad you shared that, because I'm pretty sure that there will be people who are watching right now, or maybe they're watching later on the replay, and they've got a vision, they've got a dream, they've got something that they want to achieve. Yeah. But sometimes they expect things to happen almost overnight. But never. This has been say that again?
Never happens overnight. It never does. It definitely takes time.
So I think the first thing that I want to just encourage people is to remember, like, don't despise small beginnings. Every professional was once an amateur, and it's a journey, it's a process. And I think it's a big part of that journey is about the lessons that we learn along the way. That helps to refine us, make us better, and make us that polished, finished product. Yeah. But we're all still on that journey. But speaking of life lessons, Aurie, I wonder if you can share, if you had, who's this? Phoebe's popped up. She says, I remember Pingu, the comedian.
Pingu or Pingwing? Because I'm sure his name was Pingwing. Pingu was a cartoon.
I watched Pingu. I was Pingu when I was a kid, definitely.
Pingu was a cartoon. Like kind of like a Play-Doh cartoon, isn't it? It was one of those ones.
Yeah. And it made noise.
And that weren't Pingwing, but yeah. What was you asking? Sorry.
So, Shay's saying, can we get that on a hoodie, please? Don't despise small beginnings. I think it's crucial because there is no such thing as like an overnight success. And I think that if there is, or if there were to be an overnight success, missing out on all the lessons in between will inevitably mean that you just don't have what it takes to be able to sustain it. I don't know what you think about that.
It's like you build a house with foundations, right? Brick. If you build yourself the foundations which are strong, brick for brick, and you do level by level by level by level. Let's say you get to a level at the top and something happens to that part of that level. If your foundations are strong each through, you only have to drop maybe one level until they rebuild that one. But if you try to aim just to get as high as you can without really layering the foundations of each level underneath it, you can mash up the top. You ain't got nothing to fall back on. You will go back to zero. You don't want that to be the case.
No, absolutely. That's it. So there's a real serious importance of laying a solid foundation, no matter what your dream is. Do the work, go through the process, and don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. I think that's another important thing as well. But anyway, we can go all different ways with this thing. But Aurie, I've invited you on the show to ask you one fundamental question. Okay. Across do you know what? I'm not even going to limit it to 10 years of your career. I'm just saying for life in general, what would you say was the most valuable, the most powerful, the most effective lesson that you have learned on your journey?
I'm still learning it because it was last year that it really hit me. So you cannot put a value or a number on self-worth, and you're only disappointing yourself. Like you were saying about paying attention to people's journeys, looking at someone's, I don't know, 10th year by comparing it with your first is only you feel a particular way. It's not just that. If you look at social media and see what people are posing with on social media, you don't know what someone may have gotten to get to that point, to have to show off a nice car, or they may rent a car and make it seem like this is what they're living with and this is what they're dealing with, when it's not the case. You don't know what someone's value is on their self. You can only see what value they put out there. Self-worth is something that you can't avoid. Now, I realized I did an event called the Comedy Mania Weekender. Comedy Mania is a brand of mine. We do shows up and down the country and to different parts of the UAE and parts of Europe. We then said we want to do a big weekender where we collate all of the following of people that we got in different areas and say, let's bring them to one place. And we hired out this amazing 5-star posh resort called Pontins. Yeah. And when we was there, you don't know if you ain't seen it, it's lovely.
I know about Pontins, Aurie. I know about Pontins. You see, my church every year, well, up until this year, every year we go to Pontins for 7 days, 5-star luxury. Can't complain.
Need 7 days of quarantine to disinfect yourself after staying in them rooms. Them places, as great as the first weekend there was, and the second one was, when it comes to the level of quality of the bed you're sleeping in, the floor is cleaner. Anyway, let me disregard a big shout out to Pontins if they're watching. So basically, we did a Comedy Mania Weekender at one of them. It was the first one we did was at Breen Sands, which is near Western Supermare, south of the country. It went well for a first event. I lost a bit of money on that one. I say a bit. It was about 10, 12K. But so it was enough to go, he lost, yeah. But the thing is, with a weekender, because of the scale of it, you were never going to make a lot of money in the first one. It basically levels you up. You have to start somewhere. We call it a loss leader. It's an investment into something which is lifelong. Every weekender, like one that I performed that called Reggae Gil, which is in Belgium, started off with like 40 people in a park around a fire. Now they've got like 35,000 people that come every year, each day, with big reggae artists come down and perform. It starts somewhere where you lose money, but then you gain it back.
Yeah.
The first one was amazing. We loved it. The weather was nice. It was great. We said instantly afterwards, me and my team said, let's do a second one. I'm like, all right, cool. Now, the money that I invested in this weekend, it all came from my pocket. It was house deposit money. I had the idea of I can either buy a house to live in myself or to buy to let, and it'll be that will be the investment, and then hopefully bring on another event, another house later on, and then that's development. Or I can try and invest in an event which can grow and can be a staple of a brand that I can then pass on. I chose that decision because I thought if I don't try it, I'm always going to regret that I never did. I wouldn't do the second event. The second one was at Pontins in Southport. Very the Caribbean weekender that people go to every year and make babies. So I went and did it at that one, and it was really good again. The thing was, though, is that we didn't hit as much as we wanted to hit the second time round. The cumulative loss the second year was like 25, 26K. And you add that up to what you lost in the first year, it was a lot. It was about 30. So altogether about 35, 36 grand is what we took it on. And I say it was the Bank of Aurie. Oh, yeah, it wasn't like a team of us. It was myself, because Comedy Mania was a brand that was attached to my name, and I have team members. One thing I didn't want to do, I always know this, right? You can have bad events, never have bad relationships. If your team are happy, they will always ride with you. And they always, up until this day, my team still ride with me when it comes to events and stuff we do, because they never leave an event without it being without themselves being paid. I've done shows where as a comedian I'll get booked and people will go, so Aurie, yeah, the money's a bit, yeah, and I'm like, no, see, at that moment I've lost any respect, because I wouldn't want to leave here. I did my bit and then you not pay me. So even if I was losing, I had to make sure that these people were paid. I did, but I took the hit. Okay. Really hard point of my life, because at that moment I sat there feeling like a failure because I lost a lot of money. Even though the event was successful and people had a great time, it didn't fill up as much as we wanted it to. I lost a lot, and I'm looking at myself thinking, raw, if this is really what I'm about or what I'm delivering or doing, and I'm losing, how can I look at myself and say this is my purpose and I am of worth? Wow. And it was so berating and self-degrading that I my relationships with my friends, my family, my partner at the time, all of that broke down because I built myself up on not just believing that I'm a success by delivering a great event, but also if I can leave from the event and say, yeah, paid my bills, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It took a long time before I had to find out what it is I valued about myself and what it is that I really want to do with entertainment, with comedy, with touring. What is it that I wanted to represent myself as being, for me to then go, am I really doing what it is that I feel happy with doing? Am I doing this because I feel like doing a big weekend that is the natural progression for Comedy Mania? It made me reevaluate, and I do enjoy. I love my brand Comedy Mania, but it started to be less about comedy and more about, less about my love for comedy, but more about me doing comedy shows for other people to perform on. It took away from what my core was, which is to actually do stand-up myself. Because I thought for me to be able to build up this brand, I got to take away from Aurie Styla, let this brand build, and it will get big and money. But then would that make me happy? Evidently not, if you lose a lot of money as well. So I lost.
Aurie, before you go on, we've got a question coming, from Donna. Did you have people to talk to about how you felt about your worth at the time?
So one thing that happens, trouble, despair, issues, and problems will highlight exactly who's around you. It will highlight the people that you have that are around you, and if they can or can't communicate with you. And it will also highlight the people that you need. There were some friendships that are much more developed now because they saw that I wasn't in a great place and reached out, where I would not know that they would even recognize I'm not in a great place. Where some friends around me, even people that were team members that relied on me being in a good place, for them to go, well, you're good, so I'm good because money's coming in. But if it's not, I don't know about how our friendship is. And that was a real hit. But it's good that you can get to a point of asking yourself, do I have anyone to talk to? And if the answer is no, then you question your own circles, or you attack, or going yes, and then you start to value those who you can actually communicate with. And it was so important. There's a few people I can think of at the top of my head now that I would never have thought these are the people that are around me that I could communicate with, because it never came to mind that these people actually have your best interest at heart. Because you keep one circle, not realizing there's others that are always kind of there going, we use that, we say that statement quite often. Yo, bro, if you need me, shout me. And and we never do. But it showed me that there were a handful of people that they truthfully meant that. And that's when I realized I did have people around me, but it didn't feel like that initially. Initially, it felt like it was me in a dark hole. No one else is going to help because they got their own stuff to deal with. People got families, people got their own issues. It's just me and myself. And how am I going to figure this out? But luckily, God put the right people in the right place for me to talk to. And you know what? It helped me come out of that dark place, which I needed to before I could get to a place where I could start to recover and build. And thankfully, in a year's space of working, grafting, and doing the right events and investments, I was able to clear. I think it's about 28 of the loss, as well as my own living and living. And saving again, also cutting a bit aside to clear about 28k in the past year, which is the determination that I needed to have just to get myself in a good space and realize that money can come and go, but you cannot leave your self-worth attached to the value of the coins that's in your bank, or else when that goes, and it will do, because you will have to spend it at some point, or you will lose it from investing. When that goes, your self-worth, what makes you shouldn't go with it.
Aurie, you said a number of interesting things there.
I'm chatting a lot there. I'm so sorry.
No. I'm grateful for it, and I can see from the comments coming in that people are resonating with what you're saying as well. We had a comment from Donna.
Fire, thank you. So go on.
We had a comment from Donna. She says that sometimes we need people to help build us up when we can't build ourselves. And so I think it was incredible that even though there were some people that you may have expected to be there for you who maybe didn't quite get it and weren't able to be there for you, I'm so happy that you were able to, I guess, lean on the other friendships of maybe people that you didn't expect to be able to help pull you through. Another comment came in from Shay, said that, yes, that comment hit me differently. I continue to learn that time after time, the people around you will show themselves.
Yeah.
Now, not that you are waiting on or testing them, but just tough times truly do reveal all.
It does. It really does. You don't intentionally want to put friends through the test of, are you really my friend? It's not something that anyone wants to or should ever do. But when you are tested, or where your friends are tested at that point, because you are going to need someone to help you through the most difficult of times, and then they show that they are more than what you expected, or even less than, when you are in a good space, it's not just about locking off, you weren't there for me. It's not that. It's just knowing who really is there.
Yeah. Well,
rejigging your circles accordingly.
Yeah. Tia says you are lucky to have good people around you. And I remember there was another comment a little bit earlier that when you were talking about the 12K loss, I can see if I could find it now, but to come back, it's hard to come back from a 12K loss. And she loved that you kept on going, but it sounds like it didn't stop there. It wasn't coming back from just a 12K loss. It was considerably more than that.
It was a lot more after a while. Yeah.
Aurie, though, I want to dig into something.
Yeah.
I want to ask a few questions, but I don't want you to take offense at the question I'm going to ask.
Sure, go on.
And it's about being a man and having your idea of self-worth being attached to how much you've got in the bank or how much money you're making. I am generalizing here. Okay, I'm generalizing. For people watching, don't come for me. I'm generalizing here. From what I've seen and experienced, it is typically men. Shay says, here we go. She knows me.
Yeah.
It's typically men who will associate their self-worth with how much money they're making, how much money is in the bank. It's not typically something that from what I've seen and experienced and observed, it's not generally a woman thing. I want you to talk about how you got to the point where you... Oh, we got Bounty back.
I already feel how's that question.
No. How did you get to the point where you aligned your self-worth with your bank account? Talk to me about that. How did you get there?
It's conditioning. I think with the idea of success for men, from I was young, comes from the idea of being able to look after your family. And looking after your family primarily means not just being there physically, but also being there financially. So even if I'm not there to be able to say, hey, family, look, I'm here to eat with you, here is still food because I'm out here grafting to make sure that you don't have to want for anything. It's something that we've been conditioned to believe, that it's a pressure. Now we're in a day and age now where it's not just been a pressure that's been applied from I don't know, how can I put this? Not just from conditioning, but it's also reinforcement from the idea that I don't want to keep saying social media. Social media is just a platform, but those who use social media decide to make others feel that if you are not flashy to a degree, if you are not of a certain caliber, I don't look at you and think you've got the nicest clothes, the nicest car, a nice house right now, then why are you even posting? Do you see? Why am I seeing anything from you if you can't show me something that's worth the double tap on the screen? That gets reinforced by people on social media that see that and then go, well, I need to then keep that up myself. It's a horrible cycle. But if we take social media out of this and just look at myself as a man, if I was to, I'm now meeting a lot of people who, men and women, who will say that the pressure in a relationship is to be able to see someone and go, with them, I will not have to want anything from them, but also they will not have to want anything from me. If I'm to approach somebody, and let's say at the conversation I've had just now, where I've said to you about financial loss, if you hear that about me without knowing what my bank is saying right now, and it's okay, it's all right. Let me not even say it's decent. But if you were to look at it, if you look at the story and go, well, this is the number you've lost, people may go, well, I'm worried because you sound like a risk, without understanding maybe the fact that things like investing into your future can come at a loss, and you learn and then you recover. People want to hear that when someone has got money in their bank, They want to hear that, not because they want some of the money necessarily for themselves. They don't want to be able to go into a relationship thinking, I'm going to have to supplement this person. You're a mother yourself. You don't want to have to raise another man. You've already got 2 kids to look after. You want to be able to say, I'm with a man who at times he can help me and I can help him, whether it be mentally, whether it be emotionally, whether it be physically or financially. It's not about me having to pick up another child. That's the mentality that a lot of us have. With that comes the pressure for a guy, I believe, to already have things in place so we don't look like we are meeting women who have their own money, their own life set, who are independent, and then going, we're now the sponge. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's not the pressure of, I'd see the comment, Shay. It's not, it's almost, we almost put a value of security on a value of someone's bank account. If they've got $1 million in there, then great, you've got $1 million. I'd have to worry about you wanting to borrow money out of my account. Better yet, we may be able to come together and build an empire. People would like to see that you've already built your own, rather than thinking maybe he's still building and put a value in what that build is. He's going to get to a point where he is, or she's going to get to a point where she is in a great place. But with men, I feel the pressure is, I need to see that before I speak to you, or else how are we going to develop a future if I've met you now and you haven't even started building on your own? That's the pressure I feel that men are conditioned to feel, because society always says, men, you should have your stuff together so you can be the provider for your family. It's not unhealthy. I do believe it's great to be able to look at someone and say they have at least the ambition, the drive, or the foundation to say, if we want to build a future together, there is something more than just talk. But that shouldn't be the main basis as to why somebody is seen as a quality person, because their bank balance is decent, or because they are going to, retain a certain level of wealth. There's more to building a future than that, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. And now I actually want to put it out to people watching, specifically the ladies. I want us to take a minute to be honest with ourselves. If you don't want me to put your responses up on the screen, you want to kind of hide behind it.
No, I want responses on the screen, because you know what it is, yeah? You lot asking me questions, and some of you will make your opinions. You need to start talking back yourself. If we ask a question, which is, ladies, do you want a man who's got their own money? And you're going to sit there in the comments going, it's okay, and I'm all right. Where deep down inside, you're like, yes, I need to see you bank. I need to see you banking. I want you to be honest. So don't try and soft foot with these people, Let them start talking the real things. Because I know some of you will try and be nice on socials to not look like an idiot to your friends. I want you to tell the truth, innit? If you need a guy that has to have his bank sorted, if you need a man that has to have more money than you, so you can look and say, well, he ain't gonna try and steal no money from me, I need you to say that straight up. This whole talking thing of one thing you're saying but the other thing you mean, that's got to go. You got to put that up straight. I'm not hearing what you're saying empowers. I am empowering you to be honest in the comments.
Well, Shay says, nope, honest participants only here.
Hey,
and we love that. So, ladies,
water. Ray and nephew right now. Come on, let's talk the things. Ladies. No, that's a bad impression, isn't it? I'm joking. Sorry, go on, carry on. Let me
ladies,
fades away.
Let's be honest now. Let's tell the truth.
Yeah.
Do we help to contribute to this? Someone's shaking their head. We won't say who. Do we help to contribute to this, to a man's maybe unhealthy alignment with his self-worth and his bank balance or his pocket? Do we contribute to that? And if that is a little too abstract, let me break it down even further. Ladies, would you deal with a man who was broke? Would you? Bounty versus Beanie. This is Naomi versus Aurie. Too funny. Come on, ladies, talk to me. Be honest. Aurie's not saying anything. He's not saying anything. But be honest. Could you be with a man who is broke? Could you be with a man who is financially really struggling? Would you feel comfortable with being the main breadwinner in a relationship? Shay, honest participant, she said yes. Yes, we do. Sadly, we do contribute to this.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you, Shay. Thank you.
I see Shay's one speaking up. I'm seeing the rest of the ladies who were talking before. I don't know if you've noticed already. They're going quiet now.
They're chatting it. Now all of a sudden their reception's cut out, innit? Yeah. You lot went from good Digicel reception to Nelly's. Come on. I need to see some real comments here. Big up, Shay. Shay, big up yourself, innit? Because you're honest with yourself. The rest of you lot, shush. No, in fact, no, shush, talk, because you're shushed already. Talk the things. Be honest. Be real.
So Shay says, I have dealt with the broke men. The money isn't the whole problem. The mindset is. All right. Okay, cool. That's one. We got one response here. We've got another coming in from Tia. She says, yes, I would, as long as he's working hard. We both work on it together.
Okay.
There's a reason I really like that response, because I think sometimes as women, and I'm being honest here, we can have unrealistic expectations sometimes that put ridiculous amounts of pressure on our partner when we are not really in the same position ourselves. Like, I don't know, some women, it's almost like they want to have another father, and maybe, I don't know, it's a bit, there's something that's a bit funny there. Like, I don't want to expect my man to come to the table and he's bought his house, he's got his car, maybe he's got some investments going, and I haven't got, I don't want to say anything inappropriate here, but I ain't got nothing myself. I don't think that's really fair, and it's not really balanced.
Can you hold on, there you are. Yes, trust me. Yeah, go on. Talk the thing. Right. You hard, right? Yeah.
Donna, I don't want a broke man. Sorry.
Sorry, what did Donna say?
I don't want a broke man.
Oh boy.
I got sound effects just for you lot. Just carry on. Donna want a broke man.
Oh boy.
Okay. All right then.
Now, here's the thing. Okay, like, fun and jokes aside, I think we can all accept that we do contribute to that. Yes, there is that societal pressure, but we are part of society. We are part of the group of people that put this pressure on our men. And Donna says, yeah, you want it honest. And Donna, you know what? I respect that. Similarly to you, go on.
No, I was just going to say, do you know what? It's good that you're being honest, but then on the other side of it is, whilst being honest, do you recognize that there is a toxic level to putting that expectation on a guy so high that, all right, let me be clear. I don't think it's wrong to want to see a guy doing well. I think it's good to want to see a man in a position that you can say, well done, you've worked hard, you are definitely saving, because having a lot of money is not a mindset. Sorry, having a lot of money is not to do with the money that you get in terms of getting a lot of money. Sorry, let me say this right. Being rich or being wealthy is not about how much money you're getting. It's how you then retain the money. It's how you keep it, how you save it. Exactly. You could give a man £1 million today and it's gone in 2 days. Very easily. Exactly. But you could give a man 10 grand and he can turn that into 500,000 if he knows what he's doing. It's not about the money. I think the thing we need to not confuse is a decent financial acumen and mindset against someone just having a lot of money. How many rich kids do you know or you've met, or maybe even the rich kid who is the son of someone who's rich at your kid's school, who you know is going to grow up to be a spoiled brat that doesn't have to work? They have loads of money in the bank. It doesn't mean that they're good at accumulating it. It's all about the mindset. There are people out there that can. I mean, the more valuable person is someone who can gain or create wealth for themselves and their family, even if they've started from nothing. And I believe that I think what a lot of people confuse is seeing someone with a lot of money and going, he's well off, as opposed to seeing someone with the acumen that can create a lot of money and going, it's the acumen that I'm attracted to. You don't want to see a man that's broke who has got money every now and then, and for some reason is always broke. You see them wearing nice clothes, but sleeping in a single bed in the box room at their friend's house. And you're thinking, how is it that every time I speak to you, you're driving a nice car, but you seem to not even have your yard together? It's because their acumen and their priorities are wrong. They're irresponsible with money. I think what people prefer is to see somebody and go, you're good with money, as opposed to you have a good amount of money. That would be the more attractive thing, I think. And that's what I think we need to aim towards, is to looking at someone and going, you know what, I want to be able to look at you and go, if we build things together, we're decent, we're good. But I don't want to meet someone. I wouldn't want to meet a woman and she's rich, but I know that it's because someone gave her money and I can't see how she can retain it. I want to meet a woman that has barely got any, but knows how to make it. So at least I can look and say we can both build together, because that is a much more, you can't put a price on that knowledge and acumen. There's no way.
That's it. No, it's so true. We've got a comment from Phoebe. I've experienced being with a guy that was broke and I was financially more secure. Then he got jealous and made me look like I was making him look bad.
Oh no. Sorry, I got a couple sound effects for you today. That's all.
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, that is a serious situation. And we've got, you know, Shay who's come up said red flag. Red flag.
Big time. Yeah.
We've got another comment coming from Donna again. She says 100%, but I'm selfish and I'm okay with that. I have worked hard and
we bonfire upon them something right there. Yeah. Me not like the word they're selfish, you know. I bonfire upon them something right now. See.
You that's it, Aurie. I've worked hard and don't want someone who will make me have to work even harder. Maybe that's my mindset, but I'm okay with it.
Is that really selfish if you don't want to, if you've worked hard and you just don't want somebody to make your work harder? I don't think it's selfish.
And this is what I was going to say. That doesn't sound selfish to me at all. I think we do have to use a lot of wisdom when we decide to partner up with someone and make someone a part of our life's journey, because there are implications on our lives. If we've got people who are dependent on us, whether it be kids, whether it be, you know, whoever we're caring for, there are some serious implications. We got another comment. There are people who add value even though they have no money. Yes. Value is measured in different ways.
There, that's it. That is it. Oh my God, that is, see right there. With good fire. Yeah, man.
I'm going to share a couple more before we keep going. Okay. Jashi, she says, being broke could just be a temporary measure due to circumstances. I agree. Plan together to build strong. You don't want a lazy man that is stagnant. You have to prepare for the future.
Very true. I agree.
And there's a question from Tia, which kind of ties into what Shay was saying. What about men who bring value? Money can be the least at times. Yeah. And I think that's an interesting point. Yeah, what she's making there. Imagine you've got all the money in the world as a man, and you've got your partner and you guys are together. But this woman, although you're there and you've got money, she feels lonely every day. It's like she's by herself. Or perhaps, you got your cash rich, you've got a whole lot of money, but you don't stimulate her mind. You don't inspire her to become more, to be better. I think there's definitely other measures of value. It's certainly not just about a man's bank account.
Yeah, definitely.
And one more question. I said one more, but one more question, Shay. Also, what is broke? My broke and your broke may be different. So we've got two questions. So Aurie, what about the men who bring value, but may not be, financially may not be quite there yet?
The men, that sounds like a Tyler Perry movie. I feel like I've seen it somewhere. Is it Why Did I Get Married or something like that? So I don't know. Like, is it Why Did I Get Married or the Preachers? I don't know. What did it feel? Where he marries the gardener or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, where he was with the bald head guy and then she broke up with him because he was horrible. But the guy was emotionally and mentally there, that allowed her to be secure, build up her security within herself rather than feeling that she was broken down by the guy. There is it depends. If money's a big thing for you, like Donna said, then look for money. But if it's not a big thing, then you know what I mean. There are other things that you can value. There are other things that you can rate and respect. Sorry, 1 second. There are other things that you can rate and respect. And with that, it's sorry, I was dashing keys. Boom. Sorry. There are other things. Sorry about that. There are other things that you can. Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That's the one. Diary of a Mad Black Woman. All right, cool. there are things you can rate and respect from somebody that you can look at and go, that's what I'm missing. Like that. I don't need someone who can build me up financially. I can do that because some women are very good at making a lot of money and a lot of generational wealth. That they may be what are the archetype of the alpha of the house, whereas the man who might be more the sensitive, the tender, the more family orientated, could be the person that may stay home. And as long as you have that fusion that allows you lot to both work and develop and build your empire and balance in the way you need to, because we're not following traditional roles of 50 to 100 years ago anymore, really. There are women I know that make a lot of money. There are men that I know are stay-at-home dads. It just depends on who you are. If you find a man that brings value to what you need and you bring value to what they need, and you both can come together and build together, then it's not just about money. So many different ways. Come on. And what was the other one? What was the other question about being broke?
Yeah, what is broke? What does it mean? What does it mean to be broke? If my broke and your broke is different, you know, what's the measure?
Boy, you might need to ask me that question again, you know, because I don't know one.
It's relative. Is that fair?
I think it's relative. You know, say Bob Marley once did say about richness and broke. I can't remember. What did Bob say? I can't remember. He said something about something about Ital, Rastafari, and Firebun rich people because them now really have no art and them art broke. So it was something like that. But I think no, brokenness comes from, in terms of it doesn't have a value. Broke is, that's a good one. Broke is, if you cannot afford the basic necessities that you need to survive for you and your family, then financially I would call that broke. And that, I'm not saying that that's bad on you. What I'm saying is it may be because of circumstances, but at least if you can recognize that that's where you're at, you can then do something about it whilst being aware that this is where I'm at now. I'm broke. So let me now develop and let me now come out of this zone of brokenness, because this is not where I want to be, where I'm struggling to provide the bare necessities or the basics. I need to now be above that line of broke. Anything above that is not broke to me, because for some people, just providing the bare necessities for them and their family is richer than anyone else can really give to them. Money can't give the comfort of someone who may be able to spend time with their family, but also still provide. Do you see what I'm saying? Someone said broke is anything less than comfortable, living hand to mouth without it being a choice. I would say living below hand to mouth is broke. If you're living hand to mouth, but you are fulfilled in other ways. There are some people that are Samaritans that they work jobs that only pay them enough to live. Preachers, there are many pastors in church that take only a certain salary. Not all churches, we know some churches are, but there are churches that the pastor will literally live to just one line that they can provide, but what fulfills them isn't being comfortable, it's being able to get up and go so they can do what God's work is. It depends on who you are. Donna said, what did Donna say about broke? Broke depends on what I'm trying to buy. Donna out here is trying to buy a Ferrari,
a yacht.
A yacht. Donna out here is trying to get that Dubai land. You know, do your thing, Donna, innit? Do your thing. You got yourself, Donna. Donna out here.
That is too
funny. Donna, are you in a relationship? I just want to know, Donna. Where's your man? I want to see. What is? I want to see your man's P46. What is he? Because he better be rich, you know, the way you're talking. I'm just saying. Anyway, carry on.
I want to read one more comment before we move on.
Yeah, sure.
From Shay. She said, personally, I like money, but I prefer respect, security, love, building something together, and so on and so forth. My love language is heavily linked to feeling rather than things. If you get
okay. I like that one. Love. I've learned a lot about understanding love languages over the past few years, so I can understand that some people express how they love differently from how I may, or also understand that I express love in a way that might be not received by others. If that's your love language is about feelings, cool, respect. Oh, hold on. What does Donna say? I just saw a comment pop up. I don't even want to look at that. So, bruh, if I had the boat, you would both be there. No, you're single, Donna. Really? Swear. No. Mama, really? Man.
No, don't worry. Don't worry about Aurie. When you get the boat, invite me. I'm coming.
Right, she's single. I never knew. I never would have known.
Oh, that is too funny. Aurie, listen.
Yeah, go on.
We don't have a lot of time left.
Okay.
Before we finish, I do really want to get to, because we've started, we've gotten your story. We know that you had big dreams, big aspirations. You went through a rough patch. You suffered a huge loss.
Yeah.
And you said that the most important life lesson was about not attaching your value to a number or, an amount that's in your pocket or your bank. I want to know what work you did. Well, in fact, that's presumptuous. Let me ask the question. What do you now attach your self-worth and your personal value to? What is it based on?
Like I say, it's still a journey, but straight afterwards, I did last year, the end of the year, we did my tour, the Just Like That tour.
I was there. Woo, woo, woo.
You was there, you saw it. So you knew towards like the last 20 minutes of the tour, I kind of geared my show more towards being aware of who you are and yourself and what state of mind you're in. It was one of the most fulfilling tours I've done because I was able to go on stage, just be myself, do my comedy, but also deliver the message, which is, it's okay to go through rough times. And though men know now, there's like a renaissance now of men understanding that mental health awareness is a big thing that includes us, that you can, as a man, not be okay and forget what someone might say. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
That for me gave me so much joy to be able to go on stage and do that. Because when people came up to me afterwards and went, Aurie, that hit me. Really, I'm at a point where I'm learning about my mental health now, and I'm understanding that I can be fragile as a man. It was amazing to now be able to see these men and go, it's not just me, and it's okay as a guy to not have everything in check, and then to be able to go, I need help. There's a few men that like a friend of mine called Liam, who's part of Beard Culture London. He came onto my show on radio and he was talking about what he does as an initiative, which is, the company about, how to grow like men and their beards and beard appreciation, right? But he opened it up so men could talk, just even though it's about beards, we can talk about stuff that men don't get the platform to talk about, not just beard, but how we're feeling, family life, relationships, work, spirituality, whatever it is. And he wanted to create that platform. And I think what I'm happy about now is I'm doing the content that I love doing that allows me to still be able to have conversations like that, real conversations, but put a bit of humor on them, but real conversations, because God forbid I would know someone that went through what I went through and I wasn't receptive to that they were going through it. I'd be very upset. So I'm glad that I've kind of opened up that plane and platform for my friends to go, yo, let's talk about this. Let's just be men and just say, yo, let's just open up. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. And that's what I love about coming out of the dark side, is being able to say it was okay being in there, and you can come out of it, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm really glad that you said that, because that leads us quite nicely onto the how. And as you said, it's still a journey. It is possible to get through to the other side, but I really want to know about your way out. How did you? Because I'm thinking there might be someone who's watching this right now, who's like, do you know what, Aurie? I can relate. I'm in that same space. Maybe I'm suffering from a huge loss right now. Maybe I'm feeling less than a man right now. Maybe I'm just feeling like I'm absolutely useless and my self-worth, my self-esteem has plummeted.
Yeah.
How do you work your way through that? Like, literally, what does one have to do to dig themselves out of that dark, dark place to when they can actually see the light again?
A few steps. First one, recognize you are in a dark place, because at the beginning you won't know. You'll just feel like everything's hard, but you won't realize that it takes you into a dark place where you're so consumed by it that It's almost like you're in a dark place and your eyes adjust to how dark it is, rather than recognizing, yo, this is actually too dark for me. I need to be somewhere where it's lighter. So you need to first recognize that, which you will do if you look at yourself and just be honest with yourself. Then after that, whilst being in the dark place, is get rid of that idea of what it means to be a man. That whole man up phrase, dash that way. No matter what Donna Noble says about money, you don't need, listen, being a man is not attributed to value. It's not attributed to bravado or a lack of expression of your emotions. You can do all of these things. You can be honest with yourself and say, I feel bad, I feel down. It's about recognizing that there is no uniform way. Like, there's no uniform way of being a woman. There's no uniform way of being a man. So rather than trying to ask yourself, am I streamlining what it means to be a man? Just ask yourself, where am I at right now? And then after that is then then being open to communicate and talking to people. There are so much more people out there that will want to help you, or that will be able to help you without even knowing that they are doing it, by just you allowing yourself to have a bit of conversation. Interviews like this, I had a few when I was in my dark place, and they allowed me to open up in ways that I didn't even realize, and learn about myself, because I chose to talk. Because the voice in your head only knows as much as you know, because it's in your head. So it's better to communicate with someone else who might give you a different dimension,
a
different perspective that you are not able to digest or acknowledge right now, because you're already in your own bag too much. And that can be a really bad place. I think those are the 3 steps: acknowledging there is a problem and that it's that you're in a dark place. Then getting rid of the idea that having an issue or being in a dark place is a bad thing because it's not supposedly being a man. There's no such thing. And then after that is then going, all right, now that I know this and I'm honest with myself, how can I now communicate and talk to people and just be open and say, look, I need help. You don't need to help me necessarily, but I need help, because that person may not be able to help you, but they may be able to direct you to someone who can, or even suggest an audio book that might have that one sentence in there that triggers you to make you go, you know what? That's true. That hit me where I needed to hear it, if that makes sense.
That's perfect what you've just said, Aurie, and it really lines up with Shay. She did write a book. She wrote a book about exactly this.
Oh, no.
It's called Sunny Days, and it's available on all platforms. Feel no way, Shay. You'll share its value, and at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. It is completely relevant, and it is about sharing value, because we don't know the position that someone is listening to this is actually in. And the whole point of what we're doing is really to maybe even be that one sentence or those few words that someone needs to hear in order to be able to get through, or even have the courage to just take the next step. Because I don't think that, coming out of a dark place and finding the true sense of your self-worth is not, again, just like success isn't an overnight job, neither is that journey. But we do it one step at a time. And I've been in a dark place before. And some may argue that as a woman, it can be a lot easier to ask for help or to speak up. But regardless, people are just people. We all have our different nuances and what have you. But taking that first step can often be the most terrifying part of the journey. Having the courage to actually hold your hands up and say, you know something, I'm hurting right now. I'm in a bad way right now, especially when you're in a position when everyone almost expects you to have it all together.
Yeah,
everyone is counting on you and depending on you. How does the strong person have the space or the time to have a moment of weakness, or weakness in inverted commas? Because I don't consider that to be weakness. I consider that to be human. And I reserve the right to be human first above everything else.
Nail on the head right there. Nail right on the head, or hammer on the head of the nail. I don't know. You hit it on the head and the nail. Whatever you did, you bullseye. That's the word. Bullseye.
Aurie, we're going to wrap up, but I want you to do one thing first. There are, I don't know who's going to be watching this. I don't know who is going to, who actually needs to hear what you've shared today. I want you to just really leave. If everyone who's watching this was to forget everything that we've discussed, and obviously we've had We could have gone a lot deeper. There's so much more we could have gone into, but time hasn't permitted us to do that. Maybe we'll have you back again one day, Aurie. Who knows?
Fine by that. Fine by
that. What one thing would you want the people to take away? Whether they're a man, whether they're a woman, it doesn't matter at this point. If they were to forget everything you said based on that all-important life lesson that you've learned, what is the one thing that you want the audience to take away from today?
Whatever it is that you're doing, if you don't feel that it's working because you're comparing yourself to others and it's making you feel like what you produce doesn't have any value, don't let that knock you or bring you down or say that this is not worthy of me putting in effort, because you are somebody's favorite Twitter feed. You are somebody's favorite Instagram page. You are somebody's favorite YouTube video, like what we're watching now. I mean, Shay said, love this so much. Thanks to you both. You are somebody's go-to for whatever it is you're delivering, a laugh, for inspiration, for motivation. So just because you may not feel that you are king of the hill with what it is that you do, to somebody, whatever it is that you're doing, you are number one. So don't stop, not just for them, but because whatever's made you wanted to start it in the first place, it's working. Even if you don't see it every single day, it is working. It's not about money. It's not about thousands upon thousands of numbers or stats following you. Literally, whatever it is that you're doing, if you are getting yourself heard or out there or seen, or you will touch one person, you are doing more than you realize. And that is noble, and it will grow. Just give it time, patience. It will grow to the point where you will look back at the times where you doubted yourself and go, rah, I'm glad that I stuck at it.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Aurie, before you go, tell us, what have you got going on right now? How can people connect with you? I know that you've definitely, you shared, there's so many gems in what you've shared. I've got no doubt that people are going to want to hear more from you. So tell us what you got going on. How can we connect with you? How can we support what it is that you're doing? Let us know.
Well, hi, Har. No, so basically, I weren't gonna do the bounty killer thing.
Bounty.
Leave bounty out. Yeah.
No.
So, I literally, today is the last day that I'm doing my No Escaping This podcast daily. I started it when I started it well before lockdown, and then I did it for lockdown as an everyday podcast episode, just like a daily update, a catch up, what's been going on, and just to keep the laughs going and encouragement going during lockdown. Now that we're easing up out of it a bit, and also because I need to be creative outside of just the podcast, I'm putting that back to once a week. So I'll be putting up an episode tonight, and then afterwards it will be released every Wednesday. But you could still catch all the old episodes as well as all the new ones. No Escaping This podcast, available on all platforms that do podcasts: Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts rather, Spotify, Deezer, Google Play Music, or whatever it is. That it's across so many of them. Check it out. No Escaping without the G at the end. This, if you just search my name, it will come up. I got my show on BBC Radio London every Monday, 8 till 10 p.m. called The Scene. Tomorrow is Bank Holiday Monday. Well, from when we've recorded this live, it's Bank Holiday Monday tomorrow. And we're doing a few music mixes on there as well, as opposed to just me talking to great guests and artists and entertainers. We're going to be also doing like live mixes and stuff. So you make sure you check in on that. And I can't say about comedy shows because right now we're currently, as this video has been recorded, we're in lockdown, so all of my tour dates had to get paused. So I don't want to promote tour shows and tour dates until we're 100% sure that we're out of lockdown, because that's the last thing that's going to get opened up is event venues and stuff. But I do a lot of live streams. Follow my Instagram and my Facebook page and my YouTube channel, which is all at Aurie, Aurie Styla, Styla. YouTube is Aurie Styla TV, and I do live streams where I give away hoodies, merchandise. Look, I got a Comedy Mania hoodies, Aurie Styla hoodies, and all of that. We give loads of them away by playing game shows online. I give away even little mini games consoles by Retro Techer. It's a lot of fun. Bottles of Bel Air drink. All you got to do is join in. when I do the lives, normally every Tuesday, and there's so much stuff you can win, and it's a whole bag of fun. So yeah, for now, those are the things to check me out on, and I will keep providing as much content as I can for you during this time of lockdown. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Aurie. Thank you so much. Your voice on this has been absolutely phenomenal. There was a part of me when you first agreed to do this, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I'm kicking this off with a comedian. Am I going to be able to keep it together, or am I going to be like how I am when I'm at your show?
We're quite serious we're actually very serious when we're not on stage. Comedians tend to, people think we're moody. We're not moody, but when you compare us, we're actually quite serious. So yeah, you keep it together, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and so I've been pleasantly surprised. I know from just reading the comments that have been coming through that you've added so much value. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with us and to spend with everyone who's watching this, whether live or on the replay. We really do appreciate you, and thank you so much for that life lesson that you have shared with us today about not attaching your value to your bank balance, to things that are extrinsic, to remember that you have intrinsic value that was built into you from the time that you were conceived. And there is absolutely nothing that you can go through, nothing that you can experience, nothing that can happen to you that can take away the intrinsic value that has actually been built into you. So for everyone watching also, thank you so much for being with us. I've had a really great time. I was scared sick before, but I've actually thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, Aurie. So thank you so much. Please.
Oh man, you're welcome.
We're going to be on this bounty killer thing for time.
Level, me 50 caliber, when he did that yesterday, oh my. I'm sorry. I know half of you are probably sitting there going, I don't know what you're talking about. The other half are like, yeah, we know, but
we know
right now. That whole clash, anyway.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being with us here today. We're going to be back again with another special guest next week, Sunday at 8 p.m. If you're here in the UK, if you're on the East Coast, it's at 3 p.m. And if you're on the West Coast, at midday. Have a wonderful evening, and I can't wait to connect with you all again soon. Aurie, nothing but love and respect. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Everybody, take care. Later.